Hello friends, in today's class we are going to discuss quality management. There are many different approaches of defining quality. Most widely used is that is consistent conformance to customers' expectation. Consistent conformance to customers' expectations. Customer expectations are generally developed through their past experiences and their individual knowledge. An expectation of one customer could be the performance, and whereas some another customer's expectation could be lower price. One person may perceive a delayed flight as an exciting part of a holiday. The another person on the next seat may see it as an inconvenience to get a business meeting. Quality, in other words, means doing things right at the right time, at the first time itself. In this discussion, we are going to talk over quality management. Before we proceed further, I would like to show you an advertisement. Please go through this advertisement, and I am very thankful to the company.
There exists in the world precious few houses of true luxury. Centers of excellence worthy of those who seek to create significant bodies of work. These restless few demand the pieces they commission to be truly spoken for. Bespoke is a true collaboration between patron and artisan, where conception starts with a single line on paper. Character builds in a space free of the constraints of time. These endeavors exist in a place unburdened by measurable limitations, where creativity knows no compromise. The vision, sculpted by the hands of masters of their art, every line refined, every surface shaped, where time-honored craft realizes tomorrow's vision with precious care for what has stood the test of time. To establish legacy, vision must be realized. The form must be mastered, the material manipulated, the cloth cut, the metal forged with care and honesty. Melded by expert hands and overseen by the master's eye. Perfection exists in the exquisite details, down to the very last stitch. The most complex request is realized with no concession to compromise. And absolute devotion to understanding the will of the patron. Materials appointed with exceptional care and executed with only the deftest of touch. Every element culminates in perfect harmony. This is contemporary coach building, a movement shaped by the House of Rolls-Royce for over a century. defined by a commitment to satisfying the desires of those who value rarity in only its most authentic form. This is Rolls-Royce Bespoke.
That was a beautiful advertisement of Rolls-Royce explaining the quality. There can be multiple types of quality. There can be multiple approaches through which the quality can be defined. The first approach is transcendent approach. It's about the best possible in terms of the product service specification. A quality, a watch is a Rolex, a car of Rolls-Royce. That is the transcendent approach to define the quality, the best possible in the market. The next approach is manufacturing-based approach, which consists of the meaning that is free of errors and that conform precisely to their design specification, manufacturing it in the right manner, not necessarily the best available in the market or the cheapest available in the market, but very good on the basis of manufacturing processing side. The next approach is user-based approach. The user-based approach is about the product or service is fit for its purpose, the purpose which is defined and decided by the user himself. For an example, the cabin service on a night-time flight from Sydney to Delhi may be designed to provide passengers with drinks every 15 minutes, meals every 4 hours, and frequent announcement about the position of the plane. This may satisfy somebody, but this quality specification may not be appropriate, however, for the customers whose need is just a good night's sleep. The next approach is product-based approach. Product-based approach is about the views which views quality as a precise and measurable set of characteristics, which is about quantitative terms. A watch, for example, may be designed to run without the need for servicing for at least 5 years. That is the something which is quantifiable. The next approach, decided or defined by Professor David Gravin, was value-based approach, which is about defining quality in the terms of cost and price, something which is value for money, which is suits the cost and price. So we can't actually say that the Rolls-Royce Sweeptail, whose ad which we saw, is a better quality than Tata Nano, because it will be decided by the approach through which the user is defining the quality, because the quality is something which is defined by the user. It changes as per the customer's need. Quality characteristics of a car. There can be multiple attributes, there can be multiple aspects through which a quality can be designed and defined. For an example, in a case of a car, functionality can define the quality of the car. Functionality means speed. Appearance of the car, aesthetics can define the quality of the car. Reliability, durability, recovery, serviceability, and contact. Contact means the knowledge and courtesy of the sales staff could decide the quality of the car. These are the few characteristics for an online grocery store where the product characteristics, the delivery service characteristics, and website characteristics are the major characteristics of quality for an online grocery shopping service. Everyone, everyone from the CEO to the intern is responsible for the quality of what they do. Different people will have responsibility or influence over different things that affect the quality of an organization's output. In a supermarket, quality means goods are in good condition, and it also means staff are courteous, friendly, and helpful. And it can also mean the decor is appropriate and attractive. So it is made up of different factors and aspects, which collectively leads to the customer satisfaction and profitability of in return. Quality is not something which just need to be advertised, but something which also needs to be performed in actual. Quality is not a step, but it is a process in total. Quality is a major influence on customer satisfaction or dissatisfaction. When you improve the quality, you tend to improve the productivity, efficiency, customer satisfaction, and profitability in return. For maintaining quality, a firm actually needs to invest a lot of resources in terms of money, time, and intentions, of course, which in turn gives several benefits which we will be discussing in subsequent slides. Overall, quality reduces cost. The fewer mistakes made by each process in the operation, the less time will be needed to correct the mistakes, and the less confusion and irritation will be spared. If you increase the quality, the cost will move down. Quality, if followed well, will bring success to the organization. High quality goods and services can give an organization a considerable competitive edge. Good quality reduces the cost of rework, waste, complaints, and returns, and importantly, generates customers' satisfaction. Whether making mom's recipe for Maggie or admitting patients to an emergency room, the outcome of a process is never exactly the same every time. Fluctuations or variability is an inevitable component of all the systems and is expected arising naturally from the effects of miscellaneous chance events. However, variation outside a stable pattern may be an indication that the process is not acting in consistent manner, whereas events which fall beyond the expected variability or events forming a pattern that is not random indicate that the process is out of control. The measure We can measure the quality on the basis of variables and attributes. The variable measures are those that can be measured on a continuous variable scale. For example, length, diameter, weight, time, profits. Whereas attributes are those that are assessed by the judgment and are mostly dichotomous, that is, have two states. For an example, right or wrong, works or doesn't work, looks okay or not okay, accepted or rejected. After studying what do you mean by quality, quality can be having different definitions according to the different approaches. So It is quite very difficult to measure the quality. And according to Edward Deming, you cannot manage something which you cannot measure. So in the next part, we will be discussing how the qualities can be measured. After discussing the factors through which the quality can be measured, that is variable and attributes, the next aspect is your statistical quality control. Statistical process control is an analytical decision-making tool which allows you to see when a process is working correctly and when it is not. Variation is present in any process and it is actually inevitable. Deciding when the variation is natural and when it needs correction is the key to quality control. The foundation for statistical process control was actually laid by Dr. Walter Sheward, working in the Bell Telephone Laboratories in the year 1920, conducting research on the methods to improve quality and lowering the cost. He developed the concept of control with regard to variation and came up with the statistical process control charts, which provide a simple way to determine if the process is in control or not. These are the control limits. You cannot reject any variation. You have to make the upper acceptance level and the lower acceptance level, which are generally called as upper control limit and the lower control limit, because all the variations are not wrong. 100% efficiency is neither expected nor required. The lines on a control chart used in statistical process control indicates that the extent of natural or common causes of the variation. Any points lying outside these control limits are deemed to indicate that the process is likely to be out of control, and that is not acceptance range. How we can measure or represent the variation? The variations can be basically measured through control charts and histogram. Control charts given on the left side shows the variation in a measurement during the time period that the process is observed. In contrast, bell curve type charts show a histogram or process capability charts shows a summary of the snapshots of the results. After that, we will be discussing the zones in control charts. This you must have studied in much more detail in your statistics class in the chapter of normal distribution. Many of the standard rules examine points based on zones. The area between each control limit and the center line is divided into thirds. The third closest to the center line is referred to as Zone A. Zone A is also referred as 3 sigma zone. The next is Zone B, which is also called as 2 sigma zone. And the third closest to the control line is Zone C, which is also called as 1 sigma zone. Sigma is basically the Greek letter for S and is used in context to denote the spread of the data. These are the charts to which the variable data and attribute data. Variable data was the continuous data and attribute data was mainly the dichotomous data, and these are the few charts which can be defined, which can be used to measure these kinds of data, variability in these kinds of data. For variable data charts, individual, average and range charts can be used, which are given on the next page. individual or X chart is a control chart used for the process in which individual measurements of the processes are plotted on the analysis. It is also called as I chart. Average chart or X bar chart is a control chart used for processes in which the averages of the subgroup of the process data are plotted for the analysis, whereas R chart is a control chart based on the range of the subgroup, individual measurement, averages, and range. There can be combination charts as well, which are mainly used to improve the judgment and decision making. For an example, here is mentioned that IR chart, which is individual and range chart. Attribute data charts can also be measured and represented through multiple chart systems, which are discussed in subsequent slides. Attribute chart is about dichotomous data. It's about defects. It's about rejections. There are 4 different types of attribute chart for each type of attribute data: defects and rejects. There is a chart for subgroup of constant size and one for subgroups of varying size, constant size and varying size. Defect charts count the number of defects within the inspection unit, whereas reject data charts count the number of rejected units in a subgroup. Defect charts. The 2 defect charts are the C chart and the U chart. The C chart refers to the count of defects in a subgroup of constant size. Number of defects in a subgroup of constant size, whereas U is the per unit cost count within a variable size subgroup. For an example, if we are comparing the staff performance, for an example, on Monday 10 employees are there and their performance will be measured in a different manner, and on Tuesday 20 employees are there, their performance will be measured in a different manner. For an example, Monday production is of 10 products and on Tuesday the production is of 20 products, then it will be measured in the similar manner. Reject charts. The 2 types of reject charts are the P chart and the NP chart. Fraction. The P chart measures the fraction of defected items in the subgroup of items, and NP chart measures the number of defective items in a subgroup of items. Now I request you all to pause the video and study this case study and try to think about the solutions of the questions which are mentioned over here. You don't have to submit it anywhere. You just need to study it and analyze yourself. These were the few aspects of quality management. I will be discussing the other aspects such as total quality management in the subsequent classes. Thank you so much.